a first. I bought garden soil online and had it shipped to my house. This is like a 40-pound bag, I believe. Typically, I'll go to my local garden center, get garden soil there. But I've just had a hard time getting myself out to the store. It's cold, it's snowing and icy, and I'm pregnant, and I'm just like, the less I have to walk outside, the better. So besides like going to work, I am not going out to the stores a whole lot. And if I do, usually my husband's with me, so I can hold his hand in the parking lot so I don't fall. But I really wanted the Fox Farm brand soil. This is the first time that I'm ever using it, and I've just seen a lot of good reviews about this soil, and I've had some issues the last couple years with my seedlings not doing so well from other soils that I've gotten. I've gotten organic soils, but I've had issues with them. Oh boy, this is big. It smells good. Ooh, it smells like earth. Look at that beautiful frog. So I've heard that this is a good brand. It was more expensive. So this bag, which is a 40-pound bag, it's 2 cubic feet. I paid on Amazon about $35 for this bag, and that's a lot more money than I ever spend on one bag of soil. Typically, I'm spending somewhere between like $8 and $12 for a bag of organic soil, just from like a local retail store. So I am paying a lot more money for this, and I decided to go ahead and try it because I want really healthy seedlings. I'm growing a lot less this year, so usually I grow seedlings to sell at plant sales in the spring, but I'm not doing that this year since in May I'll be going into my 3rd trimester of pregnancy, and I'm like, I don't want to have that stress. So I'm going to be growing a lot less, and this is just going to be for my home use. Also, with it being winter, I've seen, and I know from experience, when you go to buy soil at a store, they usually keep the soil outside and it freezes. And I mean, if you get frozen soil, it's not a big deal. You can like bring it into a warm place and it'll thaw out. But I really didn't want to deal with all of that. So the ingredients of this soil, it says 50 to 60% from aged forest products, Bagum peat moss, perlite, and fertilizer derived from below. We've got earthworm castings, bat guano, oyster shell, and dolomite lime. There's all kinds of good stuff in this. I'm excited to try it out. I think I'll be starting to do some seed starting this weekend. So I'll be able to try out the Fox Farm frog soil and let you know how it does. It's time to open up the Fox Farm Happy Frog soil and get it into potting cups for seed starting. So first impression is this soil smells amazing. It smells so fresh and delightful, and it's really loose and aerated. I see perlite in here, and I don't feel a whole lot of wood. There's a couple little pieces I'm feeling of like a wood mulch, but overall this is a very nice feeling soil that I'm going to use for seed starting. So I've cleaned up all of my potting cups, and it's real easy. I'm just going to fill the soil into the cup, tap it down, and then repeat this about 30 times. Now, this is the first season that I'm ever using the Fox Farm soil, so this is going to be a bit of an experiment for me to see how it does. But the last couple of years, I've had some issues with the soil that I've been using. Typically, I'll just go to my local box store, pick up some organic soil there, and try that. I've gone through a lot of different brands, and I've just had more issues with the soil than I would like to admit. And it's made it so my seedlings, sometimes they get stunted, sometimes they just have a problem and I have to repot them in a different kind of soil. And I really don't want to deal with all of that this year. So I invested and spent more money on this Fox Farm soil because I've read a lot of good reviews that it's an excellent soil, not only for vegetable plants, which is what I'm going to be starting, but also for indoor plants like tropical plants. And so it's something that's good for everyone who is a plant person. After I get all of my potting cups filled with soil, I'm going to damp them down. I'm going to just lightly water them so the soil is moist. Now this soil is not moist really at all. I mean, it's not dried to the bone, but the weight of this, which is it's a 40-pound bag, I would say there's not water in here weighing this down. It's pretty dry. It's really light and fluffy. And it's not sticking to my hand. So if it was moist, it'd be sticking to my hands a lot more. And then I can just grab a handful of it. And yeah, so you can kind of see it's not wet. So I feel like I'm getting, 40 pounds worth of soil in this bag that I paid for. Kind of step one for when I start seeds is I like to fill up all of the potting cups that I'm going to be working on in that session. I don't start all my seeds usually on the same day at the same time. I stagger them out just based on time and my schedule and all of that. So tonight, I think I'm going to do some brassica seeds. I'm also going to get my lettuce greens going as well. All of the leafy greens that do really well in the springtime and early summer before it gets too hot. And my plan for all of that is to transplant it out into the garden. Depending on the weather, it could be as early as like the 3rd or 4th week of March. But more realistically, it'll be 1st or 2nd week of April that I'll start putting those things outside in the garden. However, a lot of these are going to be in my house on my grow station. So make sure you check out the video on how to set up a grow station if you want to do any kind of indoor planting. But I'll keep these in the house for probably at least 4 to 6 weeks. Could be as long as 8 weeks, but hopefully not that too long. And then sometime in March, I'll be able to start moving those plants out into my greenhouse, which is not heated, but I like to start to harden those plants off by first moving them into the greenhouse, and they start to get acclimated to the cold weather, and then I can plant them outside without shocking them, because when plants are started indoors, they're used to a controlled temperature environment, and when we move them outdoors, it can shock their poor little plant systems and kill them. So we have to gradually get them used to being outside. Look how nice the soil is. I'm really happy with it. It feels really nice, and it's really nice, light, and fluffy. So far, I am pleased with it. Well, I'm going to keep working on filling up all of my pots with soil, and then we'll come back and start working on putting seeds in the soil. So make sure you come back for that video. Don't miss it by liking, sharing, commenting, and following my page to stay updated on all this year's home garden tips.